Well, hello again, or hello for the first time, whichever. Anyhow, welcome to risk management. And this is the introduction to the course and to me. So let's get this ball rolling. There's also a presentation called Welcome Students Spring 2023, which addresses general information about both classes. So it also is very important. So also go through it too. But this one, we're going to talk about the course, an outline of the course, pretty much what we're doing here. So, of course, risk management. The book is required. Risk Management for Tools for Safety Professionals by Bruce K. Lyon and Georgie Popoff. It's available at the American Society of Safety Professionals, ASSP.org, or you could probably find it on Amazon. I don't know where you can find it. You know more about getting books than I do. So what's risk management? In occupational safety, risk management is a formal process for identifying hazards, evaluating and analyzing risks associated with these hazards, then taking action to eliminate the hazards or control the risks that can't be eliminated to minimize injury and illness potential. There's quite a bit to it. Why is risk management important in safety? Risk is the main cause of uncertainty in any organization. As a safety professional, you can help your organization identify and manage risks before an incident happens. That's the best thing to do. It's called being proactive. As a safety professional, we can identify something that could go wrong and correct it. Then we're doing our job. While your organization must comply with regulations and reduce its injury rate, those metrics force a rear view mirror or reactive perspective. In other words, we have to look at those. Those are useful tools by all means, but they're looking at something that's already happened. Where in risk management, we're trying to look at something before it's happened. And that's an important difference. Applying risk management principles can help you proactively reduce risks, advance safety, and drive a return on investment from safety programs. So the terms now are proactive and reactive are important terms to use about a variety of things. But proactive means doing something before it happens. Reactive means reacting to something that's already happened. So I'm the instructor. My name is Mr. Puhl. 918-839-6990 is my phone number, and there's my email, and you'll find that all over the place. So this is a 3-credit-hour class, so be prepared to spend about 3 hours a week on course material, not including assignments, just like you would for an in-person class. So a 3-hour class in person, you're going to have pretty much 3 hours of classroom time. Assignments are going to be extra, so no handwritten assignments will be accepted. Use a word processor or Blackboard. By taking this class online, you're indicating that you are responsible enough to do this work on your own and on time. Late assignments will be accepted, but at a lower grade, subject to the discretion of the instructor. Talk more about that in the other one I just referred to, the other presentation. You can call me or text me if you have questions about the assignments. If your number isn't in my phone, I won't answer it. So leave a message or text me because I get a lot of phone calls trying to sell me stuff. If I don't know who it is, I probably won't answer it. So, but if you, like I said, if you text me and I'll put your phone your number in my phone, and then I'll answer it. What is risk management? Risk management means different things to different people and particularly to different occupations. When you woke up this morning looking at the day ahead, do you think about the risks you might meet? Probably not, unless you're a skydiver. Then you're probably pretty much at the top of your mind. But yet calculating risk and managing risk are part of the human experience. Without even thinking, you're driving a car. It's a 2-lane road. The guy going in front of you is a little too slow. You're going to pass him. When you do, you're taking a risk. You need to calculate that risk. Is it legal? Are there any oncoming cars? What is the speed limit? A lot of things that you have to consider. But that again, that's part of the human experience. For some, risk means danger. For others, reward. In an investment world, risk is typically equated with reward. There's a risk involved in your money, but you're going to get back money. So that's the reward. In the insurance industry, it's equated with loss. So generally in the workplace, though, risk is defined as a function of hazard and exposure. We'll talk about that in more detail later. But for instance, an unguarded chain and sprocket 10 feet off the floor or working surface is not considered much of a risk, even by OSHA. I know that from a fact, because we had one, and the OSHA inspector was there, saw it, and there was no exposure, so we didn't get written up for it. Now, however, if that was 3 feet off the floor, it would be. So there you go. The same exact same thing, but different location, different exposure makes a big difference. So you just can't say that something is a risk in and of itself unless you have more information usually. When you invest money in a mutual fund or retirement fund, your agent will or should ask you how much risk you're willing to take so they have an idea of how to invest to meet your needs. Usually, and generally speaking, younger people are willing to take more risk because they have more time to make up for any losses. Old people like me, not so much. When you get a life insurance policy, the insurance provider is risking that you will live long enough to pay in more than they will pay out. So they're going to want information about your health and lifestyle. In this class, we'll focus on risks to employees in the workplace, although we will look at some other areas as well. Let's compare some everyday risks. What's more dangerous, your washing machine or your vacuum cleaner? Bet you never thought of one of them being risk, huh? Washing machines are more likely to injure you, but clothes dryers are more likely to kill you. On the other hand, floor care equipment causes more injuries than your washers or dryers. What's more dangerous, lightning or hail? Don't stand under a tree. Lightning kills about 42 people a year in the USA. There are very few recorded instances of hail kills, the last being a baby in Colorado in 1979. How sad. Note that you are slightly more likely to be killed by lightning than to die in a plane crash, but you are more likely to be killed by a meteor to strike than by lightning. Does that make any sense? No, how do you figure that? So a very large meteor or comet could wipe out mankind. That's where they're getting that from. Whereas lightning generally kills only one person at a time. What's more dangerous in the backyard, a trampoline or a swimming pool? Trampolines send about 100,000 people to the emergency room each year, but cause very few deaths. More than 1,000 people die each year in swimming pools. What's the most dangerous age? Well, after our 20s, our mortality rates increase each year, so the most dangerous is the oldest. However, the first year of life is more dangerous than any other age below about 60. What's the most dangerous ride in an amusement park? You probably already had this and figured out. Roller coasters, and about half of all amusement park deaths are in roller coasters, 1/4 to water rides, and the remaining fourth to other things. What's more dangerous, bees or sharks? I think people think sharks are, but nah, in this case, danger comes in small packages. You are 50 times more likely to be killed by a bee than by a shark. For obvious reasons, too. You're not really around sharks all that much, more than likely. What's more dangerous, a car or a gun? You're substantially more likely to be killed by a car than by a gun. Highway deaths exceed 40,000 annually. Gunshot fatalities around 33,000, but that consists of 18,000 suicides, 14,000 murders, and only about 1,000 accidents. What's more dangerous, driving drunk or driving stoned? And no, you can't make this a project for this class, so don't even think about that. About 2% of the driving population is drunk, but they cause about 40% of auto fatalities. Many drunks also test positive for drugs, so comparing these numbers can be difficult. Also, alcohol metabolizes fairly quickly, while other drugs can be detected for weeks after ingestion. Generally, it's considered that driving drunk is more dangerous than driving stoned. What's more dangerous, texting or drinking coffee while driving? It's more dangerous to text than to drink coffee while driving because you have to look away from the road with a cell phone. What's more dangerous, living on top of the San Andreas Fault in California or living at the foot of Mount St. Helens in Washington State? Deaths from these disasters, earthquake in China, was a while back, 830,000, a volcano in Indonesia, 92,000. Earthquake caused tsunami in 2004, 220,000, while the Krakatoa volcano in 1883, 36,000. So earthquakes are far more common than volcano events, so it's probably more dangerous to live on top of the St. Andreas Fault than at the foot of Mount St. Helens. What's the most dangerous occupation in the United States? You're probably thinking like fisherman or policeman or something like that, a fireman. No, not even close. Coal miner, crab fisherman, nope. President of the United States. There haven't been that many presidents, but 4 of them have been assassinated. Abraham Lincoln, James A. Garfield, William McKinley, and John F. Kennedy. Now, I wasn't around for the first 3, but I was a senior in high school when John F. Kennedy was assassinated in November of 1963. Be sure to get the book. There's a lot of good stuff in it, and you'll need it. Also, you might need this book in your career. I was always nuts about keeping my textbooks. I figured I'd need them later on and reference them, and sometimes I did. You see a video entitled Mr. Puel's Experience. Now, I haven't done any of these yet, so you might not. But if you do, this is your instructor talking about some life experience I had. A little diversion from the subject matter, something I did frequently when all classes were in person and the students liked it. These are not mandatory, not graded. If you don't watch them, that's fine. Written assignments, okay. If you get one that says just answer the questions, I don't need to repeat the questions, but okay, if they stay, separate your answer from the question. Best by just starting on another line. Always keep the question numbers. I don't have too many of these left. In fact, you might not find any of them. I think I put them all into the short answer type of quiz. It's okay not to quote an entire paragraph of something if the full answer is contained in less words, but beware. If asked who must be trained in something and you answer employees, but the answer is employees who are involved in the process, then your answer is incorrect. So don't take too much of a shortcut. You can make the answer brief, but make sure it's inclusive of what the question is. Always read that question. I get more wrong answers from people not paying attention to the question. CSB videos. You're going to see a lot of these. I like them a lot. What do we learn from them? These are real accidents where real people were killed and injured. These are the things that happen when safety is not given the proper attention. You can never coast in safety. People make mistakes. Companies should recognize this and put procedures into place to take that into consideration, such as two people do a particularly dangerous or critical job. For instance, I was in the nuclear weapons business when I was in the Air Force, nuclear weapons technician. We had no lone zone. In other words, nobody was ever allowed to be alone with a nuclear weapon. We had to have two people. And the culture of safety around nukes is pretty high. You didn't play games, you didn't mess around, you did the job, and that makes a lot of sense. Interlocks to other safety devices cannot be easily bypassed or defeated, for example. That's what the training is an ongoing process. Near misses should not be ignored. Frequently, the thought is, "Ooh, that was close," and move on. These should be investigated if they were accidents, or they will be. Unfortunately, frequently they're not, but again, they should be. It is said that OSHA regulations are written in blood. Unfortunately, the CBS videos kind of support that saying. From my personal experience, accident victims frequently say, "We've always done it that way," or "I've done that 1,000 times without any problem." It only takes once to get seriously injured. And frequently, when they're saying that, they're at the emergency room in the hospital or laying on a gurney and waiting at the hospital. And I've gone up there to investigate the accident, and that's what they tell me a whole lot of times. Okay, that's it for this intro. Make sure you also go over the welcome one too, because it gives you a lot of information about the mechanics, more or less, of the class. So anyhow, I'm Mr. Puel. My phone number and stuff I've showed you. Don't hesitate to call me. That's what I'm here for.